Hey there. So I wanted to share something with you today that I think is a really cool trick. Something that can help you ground yourself. I'm not sure if you've ever tried meditation or watching a video or listening to audio of a meditation, but the core principle of that is to just declutter the mind, focus on the breath, be aware of your body and how it's feeling, and just be here. But sometimes in the stimulating world that we are living in, it is hard to go from that cacophony of things, mental chatter or just external crowding. It's hard to go from that to a place where you can just focus on your breath. So this is a little trick that I've done to help me transition more into that kind of space where I can just breathe. And it's not easy to do. In fact, it's quite a difficult challenge. It is also highly effective at getting me to slow down. And it's actually really interesting to see how doing this little trick will get you to notice it more than ever. So I'm talking, of course, about a blind contour drawing. And this is actually something I learned in art school. It has its place there. It also has its place into just coming into our own body. So here's how it works. You need two things. You need a piece of paper. I have this little booklet that I use for this. And you need a ballpoint pen or any writing utensil or any piece of paper. Now, we're going to draw a still life. What's a still life? It's anything. It can be this plant that's in front of me that I'm looking at next to the window. It could be my water bottle, coffee mug, tea, whatever. Something that's in front of you that you can see while you're sitting. Okay, so the reason why this is important in art making is because it's teaching us to be observers. And so we're going to be training our eye. This has nothing to do with skill or hands or anything. It's just about seeing. So the first thing that we're going to do is talk about our seeing eye, the eyes that we have to sense this world visually. And we're going to envision this seeing eye as a slug. And we're going to watch this slug slide along the outline contours of this object or objects that we see in front of us. We're just going to envision a slug sliding along that line. Two qualities a slug has. One, very slow. Two, it slides on its nasty slug tummy, so it feels every little detail. A quick analogy about that. Let's think about you're driving in a car and you're going 60 miles an hour. There's some bumps in the road, maybe like small little speed bumps. Let's do a speed bump. Speed bump. 60 miles an hour, that's all you feel. Maybe even not even that. But if you slow down to 5 miles an hour, and you go over that same bump, it's going to be doom, 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 doom. You're going to feel it. And that's exactly why we want to slow down, because we don't want to flatten any of these details we come across. We want to notice them. Our eye is the slug, and the slug is also directing our pen. Okay? So wherever the eye goes, the slug is. Wherever the slug goes, the pen is. Slugs can't jump. So that is one continuous line that this slug pen eye is creating. One path. So we're not going to pick up our pen. Therefore, our seeing eye and our pen are directly connected. Wherever one goes, the other goes. So the way I normally do this is I set a timer. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And the goal here is for that duration of time, I will be looking at my object, my still life. I will be focused on that slow, slow slug. And as that slow slug moves, so does my pen on the paper. So why is this blind? It's all about seeing. Well, as I am 100% focused on this plant, the slug that's slithering across it, And as that slug moves, so does my pen in one continuous line. I'm not blind to my object here. I'm blind to the drawing that's happening. It's amazing how throughout this process, let's say you do one for like 10 minutes, the first 3 minutes at least will be the rockiest part, because you're still bargaining with your mind to figure out, hey, stop, I'm not thinking about that. Hey, stop, no, I don't want to think about later or the past, or I don't want to figure out something else right now. Eckhart Tolle always talks about being the watcher or the witness to this mind chatter and to come into the present. It's not always easy to observe that chatter, but when you're doing this, holy cow, you hear it. You hear it going on, you're separate from it, and you're just like, I hear you. I hear what you're doing. Stop it. Okay, and then after the timer goes off, that is the first and only time you will look down and see your paper. See what you have. You've already guessed it. This exercise is not about the product or the end result. It is about the journey and the process. So, when you are done, it will look like a ridiculous mess here. Oh wow. But what I find most interesting is looking at this path, this one line that I've created. Wow, look at all those micro decisions I made along the way. I was responding to this nook and cranny, or this detail, or this granule, or this sliver of this one thing. I picked that up. My slug tummy felt that, and I responded. I communicated that all the way down my arm to the pen, to the page. It's amazing to see the journey that you've gone on. And that's the blind contour. A very healthy thing to practice from time to time. I tell myself I'm going to do this like every day. Nope, never done that. But I do it when I need it. And it never, it's like one of those things, like going for a run. Like you're done with the run, you're like, why didn't I do this sooner? This is one of those things. And it's so easy. It takes just minutes, and you can do it right where you're sitting right now watching this video, which is pretty cool. Here's some tips about the blind contour. My page is small, so I would probably encourage you to get a big page for beginners. That's probably good, because you're going to go off the page. You go off the page, just get yourself back on and figure out where you're going to go. Next tip. What if I drew everything I saw? Go over it again. I had an assignment in college where our homework was, okay, go do a blind contour of your face. Looking in a mirror, do a blind contour of your face for 2 hours. I went over my nose, my eyes, my eyebrows 20 times at least. It's amazing. So just keep going over it. Just keep soaking up that detail. So once I learned this in college, I had done it several times after that when I taught middle schoolers. And I've also had classes where I've taught adults. It's amazing how adults have always had the hardest time with this, because they're so bored and challenged at the same time. And it's remarkable how quickly our mind wants to get on to the next thing. But to have 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds say to me, I can't do this, it's like, wow, you really can. It's ingrained in you to make the choice not to sit with yourself, because we're always going on to the next thing. That's what this project's about. It's about focusing. It's about coming into yourself and eliminating or muting that chatter. And then after you do this, you can do a meditation or just sit and focus on your breath, or continue to stare out the window or at something and know, I'm just going to stare at this. I'm just going to be here, be now. This is my life right now. So I know this kind of video is abnormal for our channel. Our videos are very different from this typically, but the common denominator is we're trying to be real, we're trying to be present, we're trying to be here right now in this moment. And an exercise like this does just that at getting us there. I'd be interested if you try this, and I'd like to know how your experience goes. So leave a comment below if you try this, and yeah, how'd it go? But as always, thanks for watching. Bye. Peace.